Welcome to Eureka Math. I'm Mr. Shankel. I'm going to be helping you today with Module 3, Lesson 13. Let's get started. Our job today is to write an equation to help us find some unknowns using ratio tables. So let's first complete the ratio table, and then we'll move from there. The situation is a cookie recipe calls for 1 cup of white sugar and 3 cups of brown sugar. So my first ratio is a 1:3 ratio. And then knowing that, we can start to make equivalent ratios by just skip counting. So on the white sugar side, I'm just going to count by ones. And there's 5. And then on the brown sugar side, we'll have counting by 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So if I have 5 cups of, you can see here, if I have 5 cups of white sugar, I'll have 15 cups of brown sugar. And that'll be the same for each of those equivalent ratios. Now, here we go. Let's start to write our equation. And we know that for number 1, we're going to write the value of the ratio of the amount of white sugar to the amount of brown sugar. And what we found out today is that the constant and the value of the ratio are the same thing. So if I look here, how do I change from a 1 to a 3? My answer is I would have to multiply by 3 to get 3. And then 2 times 3 will be 6. And 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 3 is 12. So we can see that our constant is 3. But we also found out today that if we just find the ratio of the value of the ratio, then that is the same as our constant, and we can write the equation. So here's what we'll do. We're going to do white to brown. So my equation, first of all, the value of white to brown is white 1. So that will be 1 over brown, which is here, and that's a 3. So it's 1 over 3, 1/3. So now when I write my equation, I'm going to stay in this order. I'm going to go white, W, is equal to the value, 1/3, times brown. White is equal to 1/3 of whatever brown is. So let's see if that's true. If we took if we took 3 for the value of brown, 1/3 of 3 is 1, and that's exactly what it should be. Let's say we put a 12 in, this 12 here. We'll put that in for B. 1/3 of 12, or 12 divided by 3, is 4, and that's exactly what it should be. So my equation works. All right? How can the value be seen in the table? Well, it's right there. We compare white to brown. It's 1/3. If we were comparing brown to white, then the value would be, if we were comparing brown to white, then the value would be 3 over 1. Because brown is 3, white is 1. We got to stay in that order, 3 over 1. So the value would be 3 when we're comparing brown to white. And then we could write an equation, brown is equal to 3 times white. Is that true? Well, yeah. Put a 5 in for white. 3 times 5 is 15. That's what it should be. Okay? So the value of the ratio and the constant are the same thing. All right, let's do another one. Using the same recipe, compare the amount of white sugar to the amount of total sugars in the recipe. Well, remember the white sugar, let's go back here. The white sugar was 1 and the brown was 3. That was our ratio. It was a 1 to 3 ratio. So the number of white cups of sugar is 1. The total number of cups is 4. And then we can skip count. We get a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. And over here we get 8. And this would be 12. And this would be 4 more, 16, and then 20. So there's our ratio table. Write the value of the ratio of the total sugar to the amount of white. So this time we're going to do total to white. Total to white. Well, the total is 4. The white is 1. So the value of the ratio is 4. There it is, 4. Then we write the equation. Well, total to white. So we're going to go total is equal to 4 times the amount of white. Is that true? Well, let's see. If I chose 3 cups of white, put that 3 in for W. 4 times 3 is 12. That's what it's supposed to be. Looks like it works. Put a 5 in for W. 4 times 5 is 20. That's what it's supposed to be. So we can see that the equation helps us to find the total number of sugar when we know how many cups of white there are. All right? That's the idea. The big idea in Lesson 13 is the constant and the value are one and the same. You can use them to write the equations. We need to stay in order. Order matters in ratios. And it helps us to write equations that will last forever. We don't need to extend this table down. You know, if someone said, well, I've got 3,000 cups of white sugar. How much total sugar do I have? Well, I would just plug the 3,000 in for W. 4 times 3,000 is 12,000. So I would know that there's 12,000 total cups of sugar. And we don't have to have a table that is 3,000 rows long to be able to find that. We can just use our equation right here. Okay? That's it. I hope that helps. We'll see you again next time.